Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome in to episode number 2 of our AEW 2022 save in TEW 2020. This is AEW Dynamite, and as mentioned in our introduction episode, we will do Dynamite and Rampage on the same episode here, unlike the WWE 2021 series we're doing, where we do Raw and SmackDown separate. Since Rampage is only an hour, we'll put this in the same episode, so you'll have a couple of episodes of AEW television here on this particular episode of the series. And so a lot of great feedback thus far. A lot of you guys are excited for this AEW save. So let's jump right in, and then we'll talk about some of the other kind of things that I want to mention once we wrap up the actual show. So we start with the pre-show, and it is Santana and Ortiz getting the win over Private Party 7-17, with Santana getting the pin on Isaiah Cassidy. 60 overall. Pretty good stuff here. The tag team division, as you know, is loaded, and I'm going to have to find a variety of ways to use a lot of these tag teams, but we've got things pretty much set the way we want it, and as you'll see on this particular Dynamite, there's going to be several tag team matches that you will have coming up here shortly based on a big storyline we're going to put in motion here with the tag team title scene. So it's Santana and Ortiz getting a nice win on the pre-show over Private Party, and that leads into the main edition of Dynamite, which starts with our champion, CM Punk, who captured the AEW World title at Double or Nothing. And remember, as I've said in all my series, some things that we use will be, from what actually happened in reality, coming out of, different storylines and all that. Other things will just kind of be starting on their own. So this isn't necessarily, everything's not going to tie in exactly to what happened at Double or Nothing, but the things that do, we will point that out and we will mention it. So we're kind of in our own little universe here, but we will bring up some of the stuff that we're going to kind of piece together, in storylines. And so that's what we're doing here as we start with CM Punk, who comes out, Tony Schiavone on the stage, and Tony Schiavone welcomes our new AEW World Champion, and CM Punk comes out, huge reaction, and we get a great segment here, 84 overall, and Punk says that, he's got the belt, and that when he came back to wrestling, this is what he wanted, to prove to himself that he could be the world champion again, and that is what he did. Since he came back last August, he is now a world champion, but he says he's not stopping there because he is ready to carry AEW forward as the champion, and he is going to take on all comers, and he will address that tonight after the main event, which will feature CM Punk and FTR teaming up to take on Daniel Garcia and 2.0. So that's your main event, a big 6-man tag. So that's, Punk just kind of sending a message here. He's the champion, and he's ready to carry AEW into a new era. So 84 overall, great stuff here, and we are definitely going to lean on Punk for his ratings for sure. And immediately we transition to the broadcast table, where it is Jim Ross who is sitting there with Excalibur, and JR says, JR's hyping up Punk's title win, and he says, but to change the page here before we get to our next match, he says, I need to read a statement that has been given to me by Tony Khan, and JR says this is a statement regarding the status of MJF in AEW, and it is a statement from AEW saying that AEW is aware of everything that happened the weekend of Double or Nothing, MJF missing a scheduled appearance at FanFest, all this other stuff, and that the only comment that the company is going to make at this time is that MJF is under contract and that he will, return at a later date, and the company will provide an update on MJF as it sees fit. So a little ominous there as to where things stand, perhaps, with MJF, but this is simply JR reading the statement, and we quickly move on to the next segment, which is, speaking of MJF, a nice transition to Wardlow, who gets the win over JD Drake, pretty much a squash here, 435. The powerbomb does it, 54 overall. Wardlow off his game, that's all right, but just a dominant win for Wardlow coming off of the victory against MJF at Double or Nothing, and that's really, what we tried to set up here, but it is going to set up a lot more because coming out of this, it is Excalibur. You're going to see a lot. We're not going to do like the quick reads for Excalibur. Although at some point I think you guys would probably enjoy if I try to read off all the upcoming matches like Excalibur does on a weekly basis. But Excalibur is going to play a role here because he's going to be announcing a lot of matches. And so he does that here because Excalibur says with Wardlow's win at Double or Nothing against MJF, and now getting a win over JD Drake, it has been made official. Tony Khan has decided that at Road Rager in several weeks, it's going to be June, week 3, it is going to be Wardlow challenging Scorpio Sky for the TNT title, and that match is going to be official for Road Rager, one of our big featured matches at Road Rager. Gets a 52, which is not great, but I don't remember exactly what we rated. We did a freestyle angle here. I don't remember exactly what we rated Sky on. It's just kind of one of those, look, we just try to put everything together, and you have to kind of rate it on whatever you think. So Sky's not really over. I want to say Scorpio Sky's over, and this is like 50 or below, I would say. I think it's probably lower than 50. But, that's just kind of what you're going to get with some of this. So Labors with Sky, so he helps him out here. But this match is made official, and then we immediately go to the back to more of a traditional, kind of reaction with Dan Lambert just running down Wardlow, saying that, he's nothing more than just a big goof, and he's not worried about Wardlow, that Scorpio Sky is the TNT champion for a reason, and that's when Scorpio says that he's not scared of Wardlow. He's seen him before. All he is big muscle, and he's not worried about losing his title to Wardlow. So 45 here, again, that's based off of Sky's popularity. He's just not very popular on the game, so that does not necessarily help. So there is your setup. We've already got one match. Look at this. We're, 4 segments in? Got a big match already set for Road Rager with Wardlow challenging Scorpio Sky for the TNT title. No, it's not Sammy Guevara. Everyone can rejoice on that. And then, oh, God, look at this. All right. I mean, let's be honest here. Like, immediately, this is my series. And you guys, if you've watched the WWE 2021 one, all right, so early in our series, we had so many just huge injuries. Like, I mean, we called it the Raw curse because it seemed like it happened to everyone on Raw. We had so many significant injuries early on. It was mainly our women's division. But now, here we are. What is this, second match of our AEW 2022 series? And Alex Reynolds has a broken collarbone. Like, he's going to be out a while with a broken collarbone. So, not great here. And clearly that knocked the match, which gets a 55. I don't know how well this would have done, but it is the House of Black getting the win over the Dark Order in 9:59. Malachi Black getting the pin on Alex Reynolds. Hopefully, Malachi didn't hurt him, which we'll see in a second if that was the case. But Reynolds with a broken collarbone, so he's going to be out a while. Yeah, it's just the injury luck that I have in some of these games is just ridiculous. But hopefully this is not a sign of things to come with our series. But this was supposed to just be a nice win for the House of Black, but more noteworthy now with Alex Reynolds suffering a broken collarbone. So we'll have to shift around any plans we had for Reynolds and Silver there. But let's see what we come out of this with, because clearly, yeah, Dean Malenko letting us know that a broken collarbone. Hopefully, again, no one actually caused the injury. We haven't seen that pop up yet, so that's good. After the match, again, that was supposed to just be a match for the House of Black, kind of get a big win. And it is Malachi Black grabbing the microphone after the match and just simply stating that his group has big plans. And that's all he says. He just says that the House of Black has big plans, and that to always remember the house always wins. So there is sort of another, kind of little mysterious promo there from Malachi Black. What do they have in mind? Perhaps we will find out soon enough. So 58 here for Malachi Black. And then, speaking of Excalibur, it is announced a big graphic on the screen. We are going to have a tag team #1 contender sort of eliminator series set to kick off on Rampage, and it will feature 4 different teams who will be battling to face Jurassic Express, our AEW Tag Team Champions, at Road Rager as well. So that's going to be 2 championship matches we're going to have at Road Rager here in a couple of weeks. And it will be the teams of the Lucha Brothers, the Hardy Boys, the Acclaimed, and Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. The matchups for the first round will be the Lucha Bros going up against the Acclaimed, and it will also be Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs, Team Taz, taking on the Hardy Boys. So both those matches will take place on this week's edition of Rampage, and then the winners will go on to meet each other next week on Dynamite for the shot at Jurassic Express. So there you go. There's your setup, and of course, before this episode is over, you will know exactly which teams will face off next week on Dynamite once we get to Rampage. 55 here for this one. And speaking of which, it is Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs decide they want to be in action. They don't want to wait around like everyone else. They want to prove themselves. And so they come right out, go straight into a match, and they're facing the Varsity Blondes here, as it is, of course, Starks and Hobbs getting the win, with Hobbs pinning Brian Pillman Jr., and gets a 53, not bad. Again, remember, with AEW here, our size is like a 60 right now. So we're really just trying to get above a 60 on these shows because we need to grow our popularity. And I think having, some stuff like this is not going to really hurt us. And I know if you've watched the WWE 2021 one, like we're used to everything like hitting the 70s or 80s or something, but it's not going to happen yet with AEW because we're chasing WWE. So, so I'm fine with this. We get our tag team title chase storyline advancing, and it is Starks and Hobbs who will be in action on Rampage as well, getting the win over the Varsity Blondes. And then we cut to the back, and it is Britt Baker who is celebrating her victory in the Women's Owen Hart Cup. And immediately, Baker says that because she proved herself in this tournament, she is once again staking claim to the AEW Women's Championship, the title that she did not lose. She says Thunder Rosa stole that title from her, and she did not lose it. And so Baker, again, kind of playing somewhat of the delusional heel here, but she says that she is officially staking her claim and wants to get back her AEW Women's Championship, and she thinks she's earned it by winning the Owen Hart Cup. So Baker does really well here, 83. Clearly, we're going to use Britt a lot in these speaking segments because she's just, she's over, and her charisma is good, and she has good microphone skills. So we will use her a lot in a lot of these different segments. But the story here is she wants her title back, and we'll see what Thunder Rosa has to say, which you'll get her response soon enough. And speaking of the women's division and Britt Baker, it is her partner in crime there, Jamie Hayter, getting the win over Riho, 742, using the Falcon Arrow. It's a 55, so pretty good little match here. I like this, and I think our women's division too. And we talk about the tag team division, our women's division, there's a lot of potential there. And I think you'll see that as we go through. We've got a lot of fun little storylines we have planned for the women's division, but there's a lot of potential here. And I hope we're able to kind of use perhaps the women's division outside of Britt Baker a little bit more consistently. And I think we can do that. We have some stuff in motion to be able to certainly do that. So this gives Jamie Hayter a nice win here as she gets the win over Riho. And again, I'm good with this, 55 for this one. And it is the Young Bucks who are coming out of Double or Nothing, and they lost that match to the Hardy Boys. And the Young Bucks are saying that they are ignoring their loss to the Hardys and that they can't believe that they are not in this tag team eliminator series to get the shot at Jurassic Express. And they said that they're just not buying it. They are the best tag team in the world. They should be the tag team champions. So this is just kind of your typical responding to a loss promo from a group of heels, and that's what you get here from the Young Bucks. They do well here, 81 overall, which is really going to help. So good stuff here from the Young Bucks. I guess we still have Don Callis sort of managing them, but hey, we'll probably, kind of take him off of that for now, but it's just some of this stuff will change as we go. I knew if I tried to change everything before we started, you guys wouldn't have got an episode until like 2 weeks from now. So we'll change some of this stuff as we go along. But so the Young Bucks are just ignoring the loss to the Hardys. They're not even recognizing it. So that is where they stand on that. And then, wow, here we go, 75. Now we're talking on the matches. It is Jon Moxley getting the win over Tony Nese in 10-12 using the Death Rider. We do have William Regal managing Jon Moxley, of course. That's sort of the tweaks I made when I made those tweaks to the mod, as I mentioned in the introduction. But Moxley, just incredible stuff here, 75. Now, I did do Steal the Show on this one because if you're playing this mod, one of the things you have to do is, for AEW, You have to have 3 different match aims outside of just sort of your traditional ones, right? Like work the crowd, calm the crowd, all that. Like those don't even count. You got to have 3 different ones. So that's going to be kind of a fun challenge, I think, on some of these episodes because it's going to be hard to maybe come up with 3 different match aims that won't necessarily just ruin the matches. So what we did here with this one was still the show, and that I think was a good choice because you got a good worker in Moxley. Tony Nese is pretty skilled from a rating standpoint, so we did do still the show on that, and clearly it worked. 75 here. I'm sure we got a lot of bonuses on that. Yeah, so I mean, going all out, we get all the good stuff there. So yeah, very good stuff from this match, and just a dominant win here for Jon Moxley, but in a nice match. Going 10 minutes here, stealing the show. Good stuff. We get the crowd buzzing. That's what we want. So 75, great stuff here from Moxley and Tony Nese. And then we cut to the back again, another promo segment here, as it is Stokely Hathaway with his client, his newest client here, Jade Cargill, and Hathaway says that Jade, once again, proved at Double or Nothing. She beat Anna Jay. She's still unbeatable, and she, is ready for her next challenge, but Hathaway says, it doesn't really matter who her next challenge is because she has proven that she is what she says she is, and we all know what that is, and that she has proven once again that she is unbeatable and that she will forever be the TBS champion because no one is going to take that title from her. So another heel, kind of promo here from this duo with Hathaway, and yes, we did make that change before we started the save. We put Hathaway. We got it, Malcolm Bivens. We took the contract from NXT, put him in AEW, and now he is officially with Jade Cargill. So that's where we stand here. He's good with on the mic. His mic skills, they're really good. I just want to say ratings 80s or something. So he's really good there with that. 53 on this one, so not bad for this. And that's going to lead us into another sort of announcement here, and I know it kind of it sort of signifies that Cole spoke here, but he didn't. It's kind of just one of those segments where we said it probably as entertainment or something. Gets a 73, but Adam Cole set to speak on AEW Rampage. So we talked about the Owen Hart Cup earlier, and Britt Baker getting her win. Adam Cole also the men's winner for the Owen Hart Cup, and he is set to speak on Rampage. What will he say? We will find out soon enough on Rampage. And that's going to lead us into our main event, and here we go once again. This really delivers here, 77 overall, which is really good because, again, this trio, the Jericho Appreciation Society, Garcia, Angelo Parker, Matt Menard, they are not that over. Their overness is probably in the upper 30s, I want to say, something like that. So, really, these three, fantastic stuff here. But this is, look at Punk's rating, 91 overall. Great stuff. We get a lot of sort of bonuses here. Punk's performance stands out. Garcia's also getting Flavor of the Month bump, so that helps. And we did set this one as a wild brawl. So again, we have to do our match aims to really make sure everything hits so we don't get penalized. And this was one of the ones we did. So we do still the show with Tony Nese and Jon Moxley. I think we did storytelling with Wardlow and JD Drake earlier, and I think that counts as one of them. I could be wrong on that. Maybe we did another one somewhere else, but we did do Wild Brawl on this one because we needed something else, and I'm thinking, all right, you got these 6, let them just go, and that's what we did here. So it worked out well. Great match, 77. No doubt that's going to raise our rating immediately. So a lot of bonuses here. Just a lot of good stuff. Really, the only thing we get penalized for is Angelo Parker's inconsistency. So, yeah, great match. Really delivered in the main event here. And so Punk, FTR get the win, and they are excited. And so after the match, it is Punk and FTR celebrating their win, and they all shake hands, just kind of, again, celebrating a nice victory, a nice trios win for this group here. And then it is, shaking hands, and then you see Cash Wheeler, Dax Harwood. They just sort of, put their hands out and say, we're giving you the floor to CM Punk, who, remember, said earlier that he was going to take on all comers and that he would talk a little bit more about that later on tonight after the main event. And so great segment here, 81 overall. Everyone's just kind of, Cash gets knocked for performing poorly, but it's fine. So great stuff here, and that's going to lead us into the closing segment, which again, CM Punk said he's going to issue a challenge to all comers. Let's find out what's going to happen next. Wow, look at this. A 100. So what a way to cap off our first episode. Oh my goodness. This is something here. So it is CM Punk issuing a challenge for his next contender for the AEW World Championship. He says he doesn't care who it is. If it's Hangman Page, bring on Hangman Page. He just beat him for the title. He'll beat him again. If it's Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, any of those guys, it doesn't matter who it is. He says, I'm standing here right now. I want to know who my next challenger is. And so CM Punk issues a challenge for his next contender, but then the lights go out and they stay out for a little while. The fans are screaming. They don't know what's going on. And then when the lights come back on, it is CM Punk who is down, busted wide open, and laying right in front of CM Punk as he tries to gather himself, and blood everywhere, is the AEW World Championship belt, which also has blood running down it as well. So that is kind of your closing visual. And, Tony Schiavone, we're out of time. We can't even give you an update on this right now. All we know is that the lights just went out. Our world champion is down and out. He's busted wide open. And in front of him, we get the visual of the AEW World title covered in blood. And that is how we finish off our first edition of Dynamite here on the Save. And so a 100, we could have done any better, but we get quite a mystery to begin with. You guys know, if you watch my WWE 2021 series, you know I love a good mystery. And so immediately we jump right in, and I thought this was a great way to sort of close it with a bang here, as our world champion has been attacked and he is busted open. Who did it? What just happened? We'll find out, perhaps, soon enough. So there you go. That's Dynamite, and let's see what we did here. Yeah, 80 overall. A great show to start off our save here. Increases our popularity in 18 regions, and yeah, I mean, we are rolling here now if we're getting these kind of numbers. Great start to the show. I thought a pretty good start in terms of the Punk promo, but we finish off with a lot of good stuff here, and I love to see those bright colors because that certainly helps. And then again, we couldn't have asked for a better finish, getting a 100. So an 80 for our first show. A lot of things already set in motion, but a lot more to come. As again, there's a huge roster, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But we've got some things in motion, and specifically our situation with our AEW World Champion. What happens next after the CM Punk situation? So let's see what we need to get to between Dynamite and Rampage, and I'll mention why in a minute. We're not taping these on the exact same night. I'll mention that after we do Rampage, but let's see if there's anything we need to get to, and then we'll jump into this week's Rampage. All right, so with Dynamite, we strike gold. I love doing that if you watch my other series. Some interesting stuff here. I'm looking down the line. By the way, just so it is noted, it was WWE officially declaring war on us. That happened before Dynamite, so I just want to notice that. So we'll note that here. Yeah, so WWE officially declared war on us. That was right before Dynamite. So yeah, Wednesday, week 1. So I wanted to note that. Of course, no, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by these guys. Anyways, let's look down. So Pete Dunne's joining the Robert Stone brand in NXT. That's interesting. No more MSK. Diamond Mine disbanded, probably because we have Malcolm Bivens now. So yeah, I'm just looking at some of this stuff here. Good for Thea Trinidad. So Queen Zelina is officially pregnant. Good for her. So that's nice to know. So what does that mean? That means Malachi is about to become a father. Good for him. So what else we have here? Anything else? All right, well, Alex Reynolds, here we go. This is what we were expecting. Okay, so he's only out for a few weeks. So that's better than I would have expected. Let's look at his skills real quick here, and we will look at, okay, so he's only out 3 weeks. I thought a broken collarbone would be a lot longer than that. So, all right, so maybe our injury situation, not as bad. That was just me kind of maybe overreacting. Chelsea Green also, she's got a broken eardrum. Wow. So that's going to keep her out more. It's going to keep her out longer than a broken collarbone. What do you know? A broken eardrum, worse than a broken collarbone. I wouldn't have guessed that, but hey, it is what it is. So let's go to our mail here. And Arn Anderson has an opinion. Really liking what I hear from Ricky Starks. Oh, yeah, good to hear, Arn. good to hear. Money in his promos have given airtime. I mean, I completely agree. I don't know I don't know why anyone would disagree with this because Ricky Starks is the man. So good to hear from Arn. So he's excited there. AEW Dynamite gets a 1.44. That's pretty good, I'd say. If comparing it to the reality, that we'll take that. Getting 1 million, viewers there, we'll certainly take that. Time to heal. Ricky Starks needs time to heal. What? Come on, Ricky Starks. You just get all this great praise from Arn Anderson. Now you need to heal? Well, buddy, you got a tag team match coming up. I mean, you're going to have... Oh, this is ridiculous. All right, well, that's worth noting. We're going to have to maybe protect him a little bit in that next match on Rampage. So, Cassidy, how are these people already a grueling schedule? They've wrestled one match in our series. Get it together. All right, I'm just kidding. Alex Reynolds, broken collarbone. We know that. Dustin Rhodes, he thinks Jamie Hayter is a star in the making. All right, well, that's good to know, too. She just got to win on Dynamite. So, clearly, I'm doing something right with the Dustin and Arn and all those guys. So, Dark got not exactly a 1 million viewers, 5,779. Tony Khan set the goals, by the way, if you want to see those. So really not anything. I mean, I was like, we know how goals can be sometimes. It can be really weird ones, but like, I have no issues with these goals. Bryan Danielson must be kept above popularity. Punk, those aren't going to be any issues. So, can't hire anyone over 38. That's notable, but we'll see. We'll see about that. I'm not sure about that, TK. But there you go. So that's kind of where things are at there. And all right, we're going to head towards Rampage. If there's anything else that pops up before we get to Rampage, we'll jump into that. But let's get to it. All right, and to Rampage we go. And we start off with a pre-show match as it is the Butcher and the Blade getting the win over Bear Country 701 here. Blade getting the pin on Bear Bronson 52. Good chemistry from these teams. And again, you're going to see a lot of pre-show matches with tag teams because we just got such a big division. And as I mentioned earlier, we're just really still trying to figure out exactly how we're going to structure this roster. But again, had I waited to do that until I felt like it was perfect, you guys would not have gotten an episode probably for another month. So I'm still working through it, but I'm open to your ideas on how we're going to structure the roster, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But it is a Butcher and Blade getting the win on the pre-show here over Bear Country. We jump into the main edition of Rampage, which begins with an update on what we saw on Dynamite. And that is Tony Schiavone. Immediately we come on the air on Rampage, and Tony Schiavone provides an update on CM Punk, who, as we saw, left down and out, busted wide open, blood running down the AEW World title to finish off Dynamite. And Schiavone says all we know is that Punk was busted open pretty badly, had to get stitched up, and he was checked on by the AEW doctors, and that as of right now, there is no update on his status, and perhaps we will learn more on Dynamite next week. So no update on the current status of our AEW champion, but Tony Schiavone here giving a little bit of insight into what happened after we went off the air on Dynamite. So an 83 here, getting Punk involved. We just needed that to give the segment a bit of a boost, and we get that from a rating standpoint. And we start off with match-wise, Sammy Guevara getting the win over Dante Martin at 8:27, hits the 6:30. Not much psychology on display here. We can't say we're surprised by that. 64, and the reason why is, this was more about moves, and we did the aim of the match here to be high spots. These are two high flyers, and that's kind of what we aim to do here on this one. So it was, Sammy getting the win here, but I thought it would be interesting to put these two together. A nice little high-flying match to start things off on Rampage. And it worked pretty well. I mean, a 64 is not bad here for these two, even though, again, not much psychology, but it is what it is. It's just Sammy getting the win, and once again, we're keeping Sammy away from Scorpio Sky. That is really all that matters in this save. And backstage, we see Christian, who is with Jurassic Express, and Christian talking for his group here, and says that they will be ready for the top contenders. Of course, we're starting our Eliminator tag series here on Rampage with two teams going up against each other, and then we'll have the finals on Dynamite next week. But it is Christian saying that the Jurassic Express, they will be ready for the champions, for the top contenders, whenever they find out who that's going to be, no matter who it is, which they will find out next week. So 58 here, not bad. Christian on the mic, we're kind of going to keep him as sort of the talking point here for Jurassic Express. So that's kind of the goal here for that. And then we get another match here. Chris Statlander getting the win over Penelope Ford, 7-24. The Area 451-52. Not a bad match here, but clearly Penelope and Kip Sabian have no chemistry whatsoever. That's not ideal because aren't they married, I believe? So not great that they have no chemistry. But so we may have to just take Kip off of the managerial duties for Penelope Ford, which is fine because, I'll just be honest, as of right now, I don't have any storyline plans for Kip Sabian. So we can do that, and we can take him off there to kind of take that away. So 52, not bad here, but again, this just kind of gives Statlander a win and kind of propels her forward. And we'll have plenty to do here with Statlander, as you'll see here in the coming weeks. All right, and then it is Tony Schiavone back out on the stage, and here comes Thunder Rosa, our AEW Women's Champion, and it is Thunder Rosa responding to the comments made by Britt Baker on Dynamite, which, of course, was Britt Baker saying that she was staking claim to her AEW Women's World title that she no longer has, and she says that she's going to take it back from Thunder Rosa after winning the Owen Hart Cup. And Thunder Rosa says, okay, that's what you're going to have to do. I'm not just going to hand over this championship to you because you think this is yours. You're going to have to fight for it and get back to facing me for the championship. So it's just Thunder Rosa, being the babyface here, saying, I'm a fighting champion. I'll fight you, but you're going to have to earn it. You're not just going to get this championship back from me if you think it's going to be that easy. So there you go. So Thunder Rosa, just kind of a nice response here. Tony Schiavone not doing well without a script to follow, but poor Tony. We're putting him in a lot of these segments, but he'll be fine. So Thunder Rosa did perform well going off script, so that worked. So 55 here, not bad here in this segment with Thunder Rosa's response to Britt Baker. And in our first of the two Eliminator tag matches, it is the team of Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs getting the win over the Hardy Boys, and it is Starks getting the pin on Matt Hardy with the finisher there, and it looks like Hobbs, the weak link here in terms of the in-ring performance, although I don't think you could call 43 a weak link. So, yeah, it's fine. We did debut a new gimmick for Jeff, and clearly he gets a poor rating, so not an ideal start for Jeff Hardy, but Starks and Hobbs get the win here. A little shenanigans, which we didn't put in, but you can imagine Ricky Starks with a little shenanigans to give Team Taz the upper hand here, and that leads to him being able to pin Matt Hardy for the win. So that's the story we're working with on this one. A lot of good bonuses down here, and again, gimmick changes did not do well for Jeff Hardy, so that is not necessarily ideal. So that's okay, but perhaps again it will rise as fans get used to it. So we'll give it time, but it is not going to worry about that right now because it is Starks and Hobbs getting the win, and they're going to advance to face the winner of our next match. So a 57, not bad here, but clearly Jeff was the best worker of the group, but still, it's not the Hardy Boys advancing. It is Starks and Hobbs via little shenanigans from Ricky Starks, which we've come to expect. They advance to the finals of our Tag Team Eliminator Series. Who will they face? Let's find out. And in our main events, it is the team. I should have put Mark Henry out here. We got to get the Mark Henry segment in here. I got to start doing that. I forgot to put it on this one, but we got to get Mark Henry interviewing the teams before the main event. It is the Lucha Brothers getting the win over the Acclaimed 9:58 as Rey Fenix gets the pin on Max Caster, and so 66. So this was the best match on the show, which we expected it to be. That's why we put it in the main event slot. Phoenix, fantastic, 77 here in ring performance. Penta off his game. And we, again, a lot of good bonuses here as we get the chemistry together with all of these groups. I mean, you've got Caster benefiting from being Flavor of the Month. So a lot of good bonuses here. Nice match. I think I did do Still of the Show. Yeah, we did do Still of the Show on this one. So they went all out. They gave it their all. Got a 66. Not bad. So it's officially set. It's going to be Starks and Hobbs against the Lucha Brothers next week on Dynamite, with the winner going on to Road Rager to take on Jurassic Express for the AEW World Tag Team titles. But before we get there, it wouldn't be Starks and Hobbs without them immediately coming right back out, and they start brawling with the Lucha Brothers. So we've got a full-on brawl going on between these two teams who will meet next week on Dynamite, and gets 51, so not a great segment from a rating standpoint, but we wanted to kind of push that this is what Starks and Hobbs would do. Their opponents win their match, they immediately try to take advantage, and that's what we're going for here with that. So Starks and Hobbs come out, and a nice little brawl here between these two teams to set up some heat heading into their match next week. And we're going to wrap up Rampage with an interview, which did not do as well as I thought it would. 69 overall, nice rating, but it's not what I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be a little bit higher with Adam Cole. But as we said on Dynamite, Adam Cole was going to speak, and we get a promo here from Adam Cole. A pretty passionate promo, because Cole says he's been seeing all the reaction to him winning the men's Owen Hart Cup. Everybody wondering, how did Adam Cole win this tournament? He doesn't deserve to win this tournament. His time has come and gone. He's already proven it. He hasn't been able to capitalize in his opportunities for the AEW World Championship. And so everyone, he says, has just been doubting him. But Cole says now he has something to prove. He's using this as motivation, and he's going to prove to everyone that he is the best. And he said it doesn't matter who it is out there, he's the best at what he does, and he's going to prove that time and time again here moving forward. And that's when, he's been talking this whole time. He reaches down and he picks up the Owen Hart Cup, the belt that he was, handed after winning the tournament, and makes it clear that he is going to prove, again, that he is the best at what he does. So just kind of a response promo here from Adam Cole to perhaps all the criticism coming out of the Owen Hart Cup, and that is how we finish off Rampage. So we'll see what Adam Cole has in mind, as he will be in action on next week's Dynamite. So Adam Cole with a nice little promo here to finish off Rampage. And speaking of Rampage, we get a 68, increase our popularity in 17 regions, so that'll work for this particular show. And let's see what we need to get to before we wrap up this episode. All right, so Rampage, great show. We draw 2,800 fans, and if we look at it here, we look at SmackDown. So if you want to we're going to compare, because this is where, in our WWE save, there's really no reason to compare to AEW because it's just not booked well in the game. But we are going to compare to SmackDown because we're trying to chase WWE here. So we want to see what they do. So SmackDown gets a 74, better than our show. But if you kind of look at what they did here, I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, is that enough segments for a SmackDown? That's a pretty low amount of segments for a 2-hour SmackDown, isn't it? Maybe the main event was just really long. MVP and Kevin Owens getting the win over Rollins, and Rollins, so that's a 6-man in the main event. The Usos defeating the Street Profits to retain. Zayn and Cruz, come on, we're booking Sami Zayn better than anybody in our WWE save. If you want to see some booking, go to our WWE 2021 save. We got Sami Zayn the best, and the Usos as well. I would say we're booking all of these people better. Maybe except for, let's see, is there anyone we're not booking Apollo Crews great, but or Rick Boogs, I'll say that. But everybody else, I think we're booking better. So if you want to, there's your cheap plug for the WWE 2021 series if you want to check that out. So SmackDown gets a 74. That's worth noting. Anything else in here? I don't think there's anything of note that's really jumping out at me in this. Looks like Mauro Ranallo back in terms of AEW. My goodness, there's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of people making some moves, so good for them. We did, let's see, our mail. Let's look at what we have here. AEW Rampage viewing. Oh, yeah, I think I accidentally clicked on that before we continued this segment. So we get into 0.96, 721,042 viewers. Good for them. Congratulations on tuning into a great Rampage. But anyways, there you go. There is our first actual show episode of the AEW 2022 series. And as I mentioned earlier, a couple things I did want to note. For starters, anyone who's going to ask about if I'm going to book based on rankings, I am not, because I think the rankings are way more limited than they help. I think they add a lot more limitations than necessary. So no, I'm not going to do a ranking system, and that may bother some people, but I'm not good at math, so you don't want me doing rankings. It's just not something I'm going to do, and trying to keep up with rankings with this roster is going to be impossible. So if Tony Khan wants to come in and be my assistant for this YouTube series, he can. I would really appreciate it. But I'm not going to be able to do the rankings. So sorry, that's not going to happen. Also, I did want to note, we talked about moving Rampage to live on Fridays. I would prefer to tape it on Wednesdays, but for some reason, when I tried to tape it on Wednesday, it would tape Rampage ahead of Dynamite, and there's just no way I need a little more structure probably to do Dynamite first, then do Rampage. So if I'm just not thinking of something there, I know it's like the way you tape shows. It goes in a certain order. I don't remember what the criteria is on that, but if there's a way I can tape Rampage right after Dynamite, please let me know. But I tried everything, and I just could not get it to do that. And again, this is probably me just overdoing something. Like I'm overlooking something that's not there because I haven't probably used it before in the game. But if you guys have any insight on how do I tape Rampage after Dynamite? Because every time I tried, it would always want to tape Rampage before Dynamite, and I'd prefer to do it vice versa. So I'm sure someone out there knows exactly. They're thinking as I'm saying this, but I know exactly what to do. So you're the best. Let me know in the comments, because for some reason I just have not used that, I guess. Because, again, I've done the WWE save and some others, but haven't really, had to exactly tape shows on the same night for the most part. So that's just not something I've done a lot in the game based on who I've played with. So there you go. I want to check this real quick. Xavier Woods and Lindsay Dorado. Okay, so I was wondering if these two had a brawl or something, but they didn't. Anyways, so there you go. There's the first episode, show-wise, of our series, and let me know what you think. Always love the feedback, and as usual, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We got a lot of big things in the works, and as I said, we're going to figure out what to do with this large roster for AEW. I have some ideas. There was one great idea we had in the comments, and I'll bring that up on the next episode because I may have things in place by then in terms of what we're going to do on the roster. But you guys let me know what you think. What would you do with this big roster? Because we do, like I said, we got 150 people on this roster, and there's no way we're going to be able to get them all and tell the stories that we want to tell at the same time every single week with only 3 hours of television. So let me know what you think. I wanted to mention one other thing. Ring of Honor. Because again, this is something where I think this will distract me. We left Ring of Honor, remember, I'm using the save from March of 2022, and I just made some tweaks. This is not a full-blown updated save in this mod, the RWC one, which I think will be updated in July. So you'll have a much better playing style once you get that, because for me, I just did not do this in this one, which, again, I could have waited another month to start this series, but whatever. We may try to figure some things out with Ring of Honor, but right now, based on how it was set, we just had this set to where Ring of Honor is just kind of running the same way it used to run, and maybe there's something we could do there. I'm not even against eventually trying to do some in-game editing type stuff to kind of tie Ring of Honor in, and right now I just don't have any desire to do that in this series, to be honest with you, because I think that will take away and probably be more work than I would want in trying to keep this series consistent. So for right now, we're just kind of going to leave Ring of Honor as if it's the way it used to be. And I just think that's something that, again, if I try to do a lot with Ring of Honor, if I try to kind of tie the two together, which going back when I did this, I probably could have just, went in and did this myself and kind of tweaked the, data and all this other stuff to make Ring of Honor the child company. Going to be honest with you, I just forgot to do it. So again, I'm not really concerned about it, but I think there will probably be a scenario where we kind of do our own little child company, and again, we may try to figure out, we may play around with that, somehow figure out how to tie Ring of Honor into all this. But for now, the main focus of our series is AEW and in our shows. So we'll get to that as we get to it. But wanted to make sure we got all this in place, but this is a work in progress with a lot of this different stuff. So we will play around with it and see where it goes. But again, thanks for all your great feedback thus far. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you're just joining in on the AEW 2022 series, you have no idea the other series I've done, click on that little thing right there in the right top hand corner. Go check out the WWE 2021 series. We're 70 episodes in now. A lot of great feedback on that. And on the next episode of this series, it will be another set of Dynamite and Rampage as we are officially on the road to Road Rager.